You want to start talking about the rules of pickleball so we can kind of get
Please.
you mentally prepared for tomorrow's tournament?
Yeah, what I've seen in limited research is it can be played on a regular tennis court, which is what we're doing tomorrow. Now, are the lines from the tennis court, from a regular tennis court, incorporated into a pickleball match, or do you have to draw your own lines?
At the Austin Pickleball Center, which is where we'll be playing tomorrow, we have 8 junior tennis courts lined out.
Okay.
And
those are junior tennis courts just for tennis?
Just for tennis, but they've been repurposed to also allow for pickleball players. So
you do have to change the lines to a certain degree?
You don't. We just have 2 sets of lines. But
okay.
The court is painted for the junior tennis.
Okay.
And that's a bit shorter than a pickleball court. The pickleball court is, you'll see red tape. Just this is like a makeshift pickleball court.
Gotcha.
So it was a junior tennis court and makeshift pickleball court by laying tape around the edge. On a pickleball court, the most important area is the portion of the court closest to the net. So basically there's a box, a rectangular box on each side.
Yeah.
Called the kitchen. I feel like I should be drawing this.
Is it really called the kitchen?
Yeah, it's called the kitchen. So up close to the net, it's about 6 or 7 feet. I can't remember exactly, but 6 or 7 feet on each side of the net, there's a box. It's called the kitchen or the no volley zone. So you can't hit the ball in the air when you're inside the kitchen. That's like
you have to let it bounce.
You have to let it bounce. You can stand in the kitchen. You can be anywhere on the court. You can stand outside of the court. You can be wherever you want. Like a lot of people get that mixed up. They're like, so can I not stand in the kitchen? No, you can stand in the kitchen. You can be.
You just can't cook in the kitchen.
You can't be. You can be off the court. You can be anywhere you want. You just can't hit the ball in the air when you're inside the kitchen. So if a ball.
So for all you Wii tennis players.
Yeah.
It's not the first guy. You have to let the ball bounce to the second guy.
Right. So that's the big rule. Is not. And it's kind of hard to get
now,
used to.
if you do hit, it's a point to the team?
Yeah, you just lose the point.
Okay.
Currently, pickleball is played where you only get points when you're serving. So if you serve...
Like volleyball.
Team serves, yeah, like original volleyball.
Okay.
So original volleyball, if you serve, if you win the point on your serve, you get a point.
Point.
If you don't, then you just
defer and then, yeah, exactly.
So in pickleball... You basically get so pickleball is mostly played doubles. I should explain this first.
Yeah, okay.
95% of the matches that I see play are doubles.
I didn't know that. Okay.
In tennis, 80 to 90% of the matches are singles.
Singles,
so
yep.
It's very different. Again, pickleball is mostly...
More of a 4-person playing game than a 2-person playing game.
Yeah, and
okay.
It's way more of a social thing than tennis.
Love it already.
About competitive. Like,
yeah.
I want to prove that I'm...
Better.
Dominant human being.
Yeah.
That's just the nature of tennis. In pickleball, it's like, oh, well, we're retired. we're just here to have fun. Like,
yeah.
And meet new people. There's
like jump in and play this game with us kind of thing.
There's definitely competition in pickleball and high competitive play, but it's not...
I'm not allowed to be in that area of the tournament.
You have to learn how to play the game
exactly.
first.
Got to eat your meal before you have dessert.
Right. So where were we? Oh, okay. So
4-person. The kitchen.
So yeah, it's mostly doubles.
We were talking about food and then kitchen.
So again, 6 to 7 feet away from the net, there's a kitchen line. Oh, nice.
He's thinking about the kitchen.
Is he hungry? So you can't hit the ball in the air in there. You also cannot hit the ball behind the kitchen and then your momentum carry you into the kitchen. So what you'll see, most pickleball.
So you can't step in?
You can step
after
in
you hit?
Right, if you hit it in the air. If it bounces and you hit it, you can step in.
Okay, but if you hit in the air, volley in the air, no stepping into the kitchen.
Right. So like you can't even hit it, and you'll see some players like try
to
fall into the kitchen. Another thing, as far as the kitchen goes, so what I always teach new players is you pretty much want to have your feet in cement at the kitchen line. Like the goal of every point, and this is like a strategy thing for you for tomorrow. The goal of every point is for you and your partner to get up to the kitchen successfully. Most of pickleball most of the points are won at the kitchen. So you don't want to be back at the baseline and your opponent's up at the kitchen. You want to work your way up to the kitchen. And in general, most points will have all 4 players up at the kitchen line. Once you're up at the kitchen line, you want to, in general, cement your feet at the kitchen line.
Okay.
So in tennis, you're stepping into your shot. In baseball, you step into your throw. In football, you step into your throw.
Yes.
In basketball, you step into your shot.
Yes.
In pickleball, you don't want to develop that when you're at the kitchen because you'll either subconsciously be worried about stepping into the kitchen or you'll be too far away from the kitchen and stepping forward. So in general, pickleball, your feet are cemented at the kitchen and you're kind of leaning and hitting. So it's more like you leaning and hitting instead of stepping into it and hitting.
Okay, so when you say cemented in around the kitchen and leaning and hitting, my understanding is the kitchen is kind of zoned off.
Right.
You can't hit the ball in the air while the ball is in the kitchen, but as soon as it crosses that line, you can hit it in the air.
You can hit it in the air while it's over the kitchen. You just can't enter the kitchen with your feet.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So gotcha. And therefore, because you're closer to the net, it's more aggressive. As soon as the ball comes out, you can hit it down.
You just
hit
want
it
to
down.
smack the ball.
Down. Yeah. I see. I gotcha.
But again, you don't want to step
I'm
into
pretty
it
good
'cause
about hanging around the kitchen, so
well, good. You'll pick this up rather quickly.
I'm gonna be hungry tomorrow.
Yeah, you still want to get used to stepping and hitting when in the air, 'cause then you'll end up, I'm in the kitchen.
So, okay, that makes sense. Is Farrah pretty good about staying around the kitchen?
Farrah's gotten
I'm teasing
a lot
Farrah.
better. Yeah, she's actually really good with the rules now, and there's something I'm about to explain to you that takes new players a while to get used to, because it's easy to hear it and know it, but it's another thing to actually get your body to do it.
Yeah, to execute and practice.
So again, like our main goal every point is to get up to the kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay? We got that. Should we, I should draw?
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Let me draw that.
Exhibit A. Introduce Exhibit A.
Where's it? I don't have to go too far.
It's okay. I can follow you with the recording stuff.
Okay, let's go.
All right.
We'll be right back.
Now brought to you by ESPN Ocho.
And we're back. Now, with pieces of paper.
Can I just say thank you for explaining this stuff to me?
Oh yeah, thanks for coming down early. I really.
This is fun.
I was hoping to get to do this. I had this in my bag the whole time. Oh well. Okay.
You were prepared.
I was prepared. We got the net here.
Okay. Kitchen 1, kitchen 2. Kitchens.
This is probably going to get kind of messy here. Alright, here's the pickleball court. Let me show that camera real quick. Anyway, pickleball court, there's the kitchen there in the middle next to the net.
Nice.
So, we got the kitchen here, okay? Usually you'll have player at their feet up at the kitchen. This is the goal of each point, again, is for all the players to be up at the kitchen.
Cool.
Because it's easier to win the point when you're at the kitchen. So we got to get to the kitchen every point. That's our goal, okay?
Okay.
Now,
are you able to start at the kitchen?
That was where I was going next. Great question. One player at the start of each point starts at the kitchen. So, both players on the serving team stay back at the baseline. Baseline is back.
I see. So, but on the defending team,
the person not returning the serve will be at the kitchen. The reason for that is whenever you serve the ball, and real quick, serving. It's okay, boy. It's just me. Serving, you have to hit the ball below your belly button. So you drop the ball. You can't bounce it, but you drop the ball and you hit the ball below your belly button.
Oh, geez.
It's not like a tennis serve where you're hitting it over.
Oh, geez.
So
okay.
You drop it and you hit it. It's very easy.
Okay.
You'll be able to do that. I mean, it's not completely easy, but like it's easier than a tennis serve.
Take some practice.
It's easier than a tennis serve. Actually.
Okay.
In pickleball, you don't get a fault. So in tennis, you get 2 serves, 2 tries. In pickleball, you just get 1.
Okay.
Now, in pickleball, to make your serve, if you're serving from here, you have to hit it diagonal to this box, past the kitchen. So if you're serving here, you have to serve it into this box, past the kitchen.
Okay.
Now, if you hit, just like in tennis, if you hit a line, it's in, okay? But with that in mind, when you serve, if you hit it in the kitchen, it's out. You have to hit it past the kitchen.
Gotcha.
So if you hit it on the kitchen line, it's considered as landing in the kitchen. So
Okay,
it
it's
would be
out. So, but in the baseline, sidelines, middle.
Yeah, the
okay.
other 3 lines, it's
Yep.
in. You're right. You got it. Okay, so again, serving cross court, past the kitchen. We got that. In tennis, when you serve it, the serve has to bounce, okay? In pickleball, you also have to let the serve bounce.
Okay.
The difference between tennis and pickleball is the return also has to bounce. This is very confusing for tennis players.
So bounce here, bounces there, and then we can hit it in the air.
Yeah, and this is what Farah's doing really well now is whenever the ball's served, bounce, and then the return, bounce.
You have to prepare for a bounce. You have to prepare for it.
Yeah, so that's why both serving team members start and stay at the baseline. I tell people, this is very helpful. I'm going to tell it to you probably a lot of times.
Okay.
As we learn tonight, tomorrow. But when you serve, you want to serve and stay. If your partner's serving, serve, and both of you stay. Serve and stay. So you serve it, it bounces. They return it, it bounces. So you're wanting to serve and stay. Once you see where the return's coming, you can come up and get it.
Sure.
And then you're, again, trying to make it up to the kitchen.
Question.
Go ahead.
Serve takes place at the baseline, baseline of example, comes over, does not hit the kitchen line, lands where it's supposed to, bounces. The return team hits it over. Does that same rule exist where the return cannot land in the kitchen?
Great question. The return can land anywhere it wants. It counts if it lands in the
So if we stay in the baseline and they do a little
kitchen.
dud,
Yeah.
that's tough.
So when I say serve and stay, if you notice your opponent's always hitting their return short, you can go ahead and come up.
Yeah.
But
be mindful.
in general, you want to, so whenever you serve it, it bounces. Whenever they return it, you have to wait for it to bounce. If you get too far up, you don't want to be moving backwards when you're hitting.
Right, that's tough.
Be going forward because we want to get up to the kitchen. So when you're on the serving team, the third shot of the point is the most important shot of the point because that's what happens is
bounce, bounce, smack.
Yeah, so serve, bounce, return, bounce. Whenever you're returning, remember the returning team already has one person up at the kitchen, so that's an advantage for them. Whenever they return it, their person that returned it from the baseline will also immediately come up to the kitchen. On the third shot of every point, it's very common to have the two returning team members up at the kitchen already, and both of the serving team members at the baseline. And that's very difficult because you're at a very big disadvantage when your 2 opponents are at the kitchen and you're stuck at the baseline or in no man's land.
So can I ask you, now that we have some of the basic understandings of how the game starts to go volley back and forth, right? Can I ask you some strategies about like how the serving team tries to put themselves in position to, get around those 2
Great
defenders?
Question. So there's 2 common ways to hit the third shot of the point. The most common is what is called the third shot drop. Now to hit it, that sounds confusing, but really it's just a drop shot. A drop shot.
Not the 1, not the 2, but it's the third shot.
Yeah. So usually you serve it kind of deep, so it's harder for your opponent to hit a drop shot on there.
Yeah. Keep them on the baseline a little bit too.
Yeah, and try to not make it a little tougher for them to get to the kitchen. But really, you're just trying to make the serve. And then the returner's going to hit it. Usually they're trying to hit it deep, so it's harder for you to get to the kitchen. But again, on the third shot, when you're hitting that drop shot, the drop shot wants to go just over the net and be going downwards as your opponent's hitting it. If it's still coming up into their paddle and they're smacking it overhead, you're likely to lose the point.
Yeah.
So you want that shot, that third shot, when you're hitting a third shot drop, you want that ball to be coming downwards over the net as it enters your opponent's paddle.
Is the net the same height as the tennis court net?
I think it's. I don't actually know.
Oh, okay.
I think it's slightly shorter, but I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. No, that sounds
very
good.
Close if it's not.
A question I forgot to ask: the shot from the opposite baseline to start the game. Now this defender, right, can hit it back. Can they hit it anywhere in the court for the bounce?
Can the returner?
Yeah, the returner can hit
Yeah,
anywhere. They don't have anywhere. It doesn't have to be in a specific time.
The only restriction as to where you can hit it is on the first serve.
Good.
And that has to go past the kitchen and cross court.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So after that, you can hit it anywhere. And again, the lines are in.
Okay.
Where were we?
We're talking about
third shot drop.
Yeah, third shot drop.
It's the most popular way to hit a third shot drop is to have a bowling motion. So, is my mic still on?
It's on.
Okay. The bowling motion, I won't hit it. Probably knocks it.
Yeah, exactly. To be epic.
Dink, dink.
Third shot drop.
So it's just bowling motion. And
Okay.
you're just trying to lift the ball and have it go up and over the net.
Ooh.
A lot of people want to kind of drive it a little lower. They hit it kind of more straight, and that's very difficult to drop. You want to put a little
Curvature
height
on it. Okay.
and have it drop in.
Ooh.
So up and down, as opposed to straight. Whenever you have it going straight, it's more likely that ball is going to be rising into your opponent's paddle, who's already at the kitchen.
And they can smash it, right?
Smash.
All right. That's the third shot drop. That's one of the two strategies that you were going to provide an example around. What's the second example?
The other one's the third shot drive, which is just that is the line drive, except in this one you're wanting to hit it hard. You're wanting a tight grip and you're wanting to drive the ball. I found it the best to I keep stepping on my mic. I found it best on the third shot drive or any drive to have the ball be lower, so whenever you hit it and you're driving with a firm grip, you want the ball to go in just over the net and just line drive.
Okay.
It's really hard for your opponents to hit.
Okay.
For tennis players, it's very common for them to hit the ball higher in the air when they drive it and hit the ball much higher over the net, because that's what you do in tennis. You get a top spin and you hit it way over the net. You don't want that in pickleball. You want it low drive.
Interesting.
So a lot of tennis players, they'll hit it way over the net, and then it's right here in their sweet spot for them to slam it on the other side. So that was hard to get used to.
Do you find that, I'm sure this differs from the competitive players versus the novices like me. Do you find that pickleball is more one on the third shot choice a lot more and it's a quicker game, or do you find that pickleball is more of a volley-like sport?
Pickleball, the points last much longer than in tennis. So I wouldn't say that the third shot is
the end all be all.
Won on the third shot, but a lot of times the point is lost on the third shot.
Oh.
So if you don't hit a good third shot, you lose the point.
Mm-hmm.
But the better players are very good at the third shot, so they will usually, once you get past a certain point, you'll have the players be very good at hitting the third shot and getting up to the kitchen, and then the real point takes place once all four players are up at the kitchen, and you do what you call a dink. A dink is kind of like a drop shot, except you're already at the kitchen. So a dink is like you just try to lift the ball like a bowling shot.
Barely over the net, just barely in the kitchens where they can't step in. And
they can step in if it bounces, remember.
Oh, okay.
But again, this is just, it doesn't have to be right over the net, but you want it to bounce or be going down as the opponent's hitting it. So you want to either have it be going at their feet kind of, or you just don't want it up high where they can smack it.
Gotcha.
But what happens is you'll get into a dink rally, so people will be dinking it, and then at some point someone pops one up. My thing just stopped.
Yeah. There we go.
So you'll be.
We were dinking a lot.
Yeah, we're dinking a lot, and the video stopped. I don't know what was going on. So you'll be dinking a lot, and at some point someone will pop one up, and then players will start hitting it hard at each other until finally someone wins the point.
Whoa.
So it's very interesting, and you'll be here tomorrow to see some mid-level players and some higher-level players. You'll be able to see the different versions of pickleball that's being played. And this will all make a lot more sense once
Yeah.
you see it played. But yeah, that's kind of the third shot. To answer your question, it's not really won on the third shot usually, but it's lost a lot of times on the third.
Do people ever kind of pop it up on towards the back side
Yeah.
to give him? That's the first thought that went through my mind is if I'm serving, I get it in this triangle, they hit it back to me. I've got to make sure I'm in position to let it bounce and then hit. To prevent them from getting to the kitchen, I want to hit a high pop
Lob it over their
over
head.
the net, way backside, so it bounces, and they have to prepare for that.
That's one of my most. It's not really. I didn't make the shot.
The
famous,
iconic?
But I'm one of the players that hit the lob.
That's That's the first thing that went in my mind right there. It's like I'm gonna back you up, and then
Yeah.
I give myself time while the air, the ball is taken,
To get
just run up in the kitchen and get position.
Yeah, if you hit it over their head and they're having to turn and run,
Yeah.
that's a great time to get up. So that's a third way to hit a third shot.
Okay.
It's not as conventional as a drop or a drive, and against good players, it's not as effective. But
Yeah.
I use it a lot. I play a lot in 4-0 range. So and you at the beginners, it'll be very good, especially against people that aren't as mobile. So when you play against people that don't move as well, the lob is like unstoppable if you can hit it.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
it's not the easiest thing just to pick up and learn, but
Yeah.
you might be able to. It might just be your shot.
I don't know.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's your shot.
It's an idea.
But yeah, that's a good. So on the third shot of the point, the most important shot of the point. Again, this is when the serving team's trying to get up to the kitchen. It's popular to hit third shot drop, so just over the net, angle. Third shot drive, hard line drive just over the net. And sometimes maybe a third shot.
Maybe a lob. Maybe. Alley-oop.
And I found a lob is most effective when you hit it cross court and the wind's blowing in your face.
Okay.
Because basically that opens up the court. When you hit it cross court, you have more room, just geometry.
Yeah, for it to land.
Room for error and for it to land. And when that wind's blowing in your face, same thing. You can hit it really hard sometimes, and that wind will just hold it in place.
That's the thing I got to get used to is just how the ball bounces off the paddle, what the wind's like, what does it do on the court. Because in tennis, there's a lot of spin involved. Is there spin with
there
pickleball?
is spin in pickleball, but nothing like in tennis.
Okay. Yeah.
Tennis, you can spin the ball much more crazy than in pickleball. These paddles are a lot slicker and the ball, but people can spin it, just not too much.
Gotcha. Okay.
Compared to tennis.
Cool.
So yeah.
And then, so basic parameters of the match. One, do you just decide somebody serves, right? You just decide?
Yeah.
Or is
at the
there
beginning of the game, they'll
flip a
do
coin kind of thing?
flip or something, and if you win, then you choose serve, return, or side. So basically, you choose whether you want to serve, you choose we want to return, so they serve, or it's really windy, I want that side
to start?
Yeah. So those are your three options.
If you choose the side, do you get to choose? Does that team get to choose whether they serve?
Your division will be playing 1 game matches to 15.
Okay.
So you'll play on the side you start on until one of the teams gets halfway to 15.
Which is
whatever your
is
point
it 7?
So it's 8.
It's 8. Okay.
So once one team gets to 8 points, y'all will switch sides
Cool.
and then carry on the game. Some of the divisions are good. It's very common in tournaments to play best 2 out of 3 sets to 11.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then you play 1 game on one side, 1 game on the other side, and then in game 3, if it goes to game 3, then you switch at halfway, which would be 6 points. Yeah.
Okay.
Round
Makes
together.
sense. Now, is it serve win the point, get to serve again?
Yeah. So
Make it take it?
Yeah, make it take it. You serve. If you win the point, you keep serving. You just switch sides.
So they knock you off the serve.
The only time you switch sides in pickleball, when I say switch sides, I mean on the court, on your side of the court, you and your partner will switch. Not you switch from the other side of the net, but whenever let's say you serve,
Okay.
and your partner Farah, so you're on the left side and she's on the right side, just for example, and you win the point. You and Farah would switch, so then you're now serving from the right side and she's starting on the left side. Your opponents don't switch unless they win the point on the serve. So they're always going to start the point where they left off the last point.
Gotcha.
So if you started the point on the right side and you won the point on your serve, you switch and go to the left side. at any other point, like if you don't win the point on the serve, or if Farah doesn't win the point on the serve, you always start the next point where you started the last point. So if you started on the right side and they served it, and you ended up on the left side because y'all were running everywhere, you still will start the next point on the right side.
Got you.
So yeah, always start where you left off. Always start the next point where you started the last point, unless you went on your serve.
Mm-hmm.
We should talk about scoring.
Okay.
So scoring is a bit confusing for tennis players. Maybe it won't be for you because you won't have anything to confuse it with. But so there's 3 numbers in pickleball. Again, this is for doubles. Most pickleball is played with doubles. So we're going to talk about double scoring. In pickleball, there's 3 numbers. The first number is the serving team score. The second number is the returning team score. So let's start with those. If you and Farah have 3 points and you're serving, and me and Drew have 2 points and we're returning, the score would be 3, 2, and then the third number is always a 1 or a 2. And the third number tells us who on your team is serving. Is it your first server or your second server?
Okay, so we get to assign numbers when we start.
That's kind of going to be kind of confusing. You won't always be the 1 and she won't always be the 2. That's going to change
throughout the game.
So I'll explain.
Oh, okay.
So what happens is let's say me and Drew are serving, and y'all win the point on Drew's serve. He was our first server. Say Drew was serving. It was 2, 3, 1.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we call the server score first. If we have 2 points, we say 2. If y'all have 3, y'all are returning. So y'all have 3. And
Drew was the
Drew's
first server.
So we say 1. So 2, 3, 1.
Okay.
Then y'all win the point. So now I'm serving. Now it's going to be 2, 3, 2. Because I'm now the second server. Y'all beat the first server.
Oh, y'all get 2 times to two options. That's
two.
a new rule that wasn't explained that I just found out. Is if we beat Drew's serve, we defer the point from y'all. No points are added, and then you as a second server come up to try to get points. That's way interesting. That's why that second point matters, because if you have the second server, it's 2, 3, 2. Then you know if you break the serve, we get the ball back.
Yeah. Once you break the serve, break my serve. Let's say I get 2 points. I win a point, switch sides, win a point, switch sides, need. So now it's 4, 3, 2. Now y'all win that point. Y'all are going to get the serve. So whenever you win the point on the second serve, they call it side out. And that just means
ball
we
transfers.
Are not serving. You're going
then
to
it's
serving.
3, 4, 1.
Now it's 3, 4, 1. Correct. Mm-hmm. You always start serving on your right side. So whoever started the last point on the right side
gets to serve first.
Be the number 1 server.
That's how it switches between 1 and 2.
Yep.
Easy.
An easy way to know what this might be overload, but an easy way for you to know which side you're supposed to be on. Whenever you start the game, the person on the right side will always be on the right side when your team has an even number. And you will always be
even number as in points?
Yeah. So if Farah, let's say Farah starts on the right side, you start on the left. Every time y'all have an even number of points, Farah will be on the right side and you will be on the left.
Okay.
If y'all have 2 points.
If it's odd, then we're switched.
Yep. If you're odd, again, and then the next game, next match you play, if you start on the right side at the beginning of the game and she starts.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing as not even my player, but anytime we are even, I am where I started. The person is, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
So at the beginning of the match, you can see who starts on the right side, and that helps you.
Man, that makes it a little bit less pressure for me, like as far as our team getting points. Because what if I'm like a terrible server, but I'm great at defending? Right. Then Farah's gonna get the majority of our serving points.
Help y'all get the point.
I'm a little bit nervous about the serving thing.
You'll get the serving.
That's why I mean, that helps with the faults. That's what makes it a little bit different, because instead of the same person getting a fault, you just, if you don't get it over, then you just automatically switch to the second server, and they have an opportunity to help you out and get them points for your team. So that makes sense. There's a good flow to it.
Yeah, so.
Wow. Yeah, 3 scores and a kitchen? I'm wondering where the food is, man.
This will be way easier when we're actually on the court doing it.
Yeah.
It's kind of overwhelming to talk about, but.
Do we have judges tomorrow? Or we are our own accountable judges.
You're your own judge.
Okay.
We're not really big time enough to have.
Yeah.
This is our first,
Next year.
First tournament.
My dad and mom would like to volunteer. A little shout out to the Aguillon family down home.
Hi, Aguillon.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom and Dad.
Mom, you could be a judge. Dad, you can step up your game in the ref deal.
Or you can play.
You can play.
You can play in the division.
Mom, we're going to get you ready. We're going to get you ready.
Oh, your mom can play with my mom.
Yeah. Mama battle.
Oh, that'd be fun.
It's a little thing we like to call the Mama Super Bowl.
That would be so cool.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, again, like this, it's way easier to learn on the court, but it rained, so we're just going to talk about it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then tomorrow morning, 20, 30 minutes before the tournament starts, we're going to be out there.
Then I'll get to meet my partner, and it'll all be new.
Yeah, you'll get it. Yeah, I think you'll get it. Like, you're athletic. You'll be fine.
It'll be good. Okay, so you got to let the balls bounce.
Yeah.
Now, you can step into the kitchen as long as you know the ball's going to bounce first.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I can see,
anywhere. Remember, you can stand anywhere you want. But if you stand in the kitchen, you won't be able to hit it in the air, so that's not smart.
Yeah, okay.
But again, you can stand anywhere on the court you want, including in the kitchen. That always.
Where do you usually stand?
People up. Most of the point, my goal again is to get to the kitchen, so I will be concrete feet at the kitchen. So I'll be reaching in with my body, but feet planted.
Okay.
If the ball bounces in the kitchen and need to step in, I'll try to keep one foot planted and pivot. One step in, one step out.
Okay.
So it's much easier for me to get back to the kitchen.
Yes.
So I'm always right up to the kitchen as close as possible.
Yes.
When possible.
When learning, first off, if you could go back in your mind, I don't know how many, was that October?
I think it was April or March.
Okay, so you've been playing for a good, 8, 9 months, whatever.
Tennis helped me pick it up really quick.
I bet.
But yeah, I've been playing it. I'm still fairly new as far as, the 1,000
years
hours,
10,000 hours, Malcolm Gladwell. Yep, exactly. All right, got some time to do.
Yeah,
all right.
Plenty of time to master it.
Pieces of advice for a newcomer.
If you were coming to my beginner class, which is like a 4-week thing,
okay, I
would be starting off with teaching you how to dink and get effective at that.
Explain that one more time to me.
Again, dinking is where you're all at the kitchen and you're hitting it just over the net and landing it in their kitchen. So you're bouncing it in their kitchen or hitting it so that it's going to bounce at their feet. You call it a dink.
And one of your
in
one of your dinking methods, right? Let's say, I'll grab one of these composite.
The bowling motion.
Yeah. So I'm on the outside of the kitchen. Do you kind of dink towards the edge of the kitchen out?
Yeah.
Is that a good idea to do? Where you dink the ball down here?
Cross court, out wide dinks.
Okay, from left side to right side, get it out
wide.
So they have to theoretically jump on the outside of the court to try to hit it back in.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. That's what first thing I'm thinking about.
Yeah. So if you hit it too wide, the more advanced players, they'll hit it around the net, and it's really hard to stop that.
Ooh.
But
around the net. You can do that?
That's a very common shot. It's what I teach probably about week 3.
I didn't even know that. All right.
Let's go ahead and do it. It's probably more confusing.
Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to have to get one of those tomorrow.
It's so satisfying.
Yeah.
But it's very hard to actually hit that unless your opponent hits you a shot that's...
Wow, I can't wait to get past the net, man.
A lot of players, they won't, in your division, they won't be hitting out wide dinks because that's kind of a...
advanced
learned skill.
Okay.
It's a little harder, yeah.
Okay.
But cross-court dinks is good. The reason why it's good is it moves your opponent. Whenever it's moving your opponent, the other opponent needs to move to compensate. And a lot of times you start off this far away, 4 or 5 feet, 6 feet away from each other, and you want to keep that distance so that you can cover most of the court together. But whenever you move one person, it's kind of like a slinky.
I was gonna ask you what's a good flow to covering the court as the two.
Here, I'll draw you.
Yeah.
Some angles.
Yeah.
So, I don't know
this might not transfer for the podcast.
I'll try to explain what we're talking about here in the podcast. But let's say person A hits an out wide dink. Wherever the ball is, you can make angles in the court where they might likely to hit this ball.
Yeah.
So this is basically geometry. I'm basically making a triangle here of all of the 3 possible angles that your opponent would hit the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You and your partner want to position yourself so that you're able to cover
accommodate
all 3 of those effectively. So if they're going to be hitting the ball, it's not where they're standing; it's where they're going to be hitting the ball.
Correct.
So if the ball's here,
because they have an arm, they can reach out to it. Yeah.
Right. If they're going to be hitting it here, these are the angles they have. So you want to move over. You would move over from here to here. So you're just moving to those angles. If they're hitting the ball from the middle, the angles you would be positioned more in the middle, closer to each other.
Now,
that
it does. Now,
it's probably, again, the podcast
may not translate, but using the same examples, if you were to, hit a dink over here,
so
I have this angle.
Dink, we have a down the line shot,
in the middle, or back at them, right?
A cross court back shot, yeah.
Correct. How does the ball travel? And I know that this will only come with playing to understand how I hit. Does the ball bounce off the paddle pretty quickly, but then when it hits the court, it doesn't have that, obviously doesn't have the same tennis ball feel.
It definitely doesn't bounce like a tennis ball.
Right, and that's going to take me a little bit of time to understand what to expect, right?
You have to bend your legs and get lower in pickleball than you would in tennis. The ball is bouncing up high and you're trying to catch it up high. Pickleball, it's kind of bouncing and it bounces decently, but a lot of times I find myself having to really, if you don't bend your legs to get down low to hit it, you're going to be hitting it on the tip of your racket or mishitting it. Yeah, that's a good question. It doesn't bounce too high for a tennis ball.
Okay.
I had something I was going to say. I don't remember. There's a lot. I think really just getting out and playing, hitting the ball a bit before we play, and getting to hit in between other people's matches would be good for you.
Yes.
So I'm hopefully while people are playing, I'll be able to hit with you a bit and show you a little more.
I'm hoping so too.
But real quick, serve and stay. If you're serving, you and your partner stay back. So serve and stay until that 3rd shot, and then you're trying to get up to the kitchen, both of you, up to the kitchen. On the return and kitchen. This is why I used to tell my mom and teach my mom, and she found it helpful. She was having a really hard time because, when you're serving, you need to stay back because you have to wait for it to bounce. When you're returning, it bounces and you hit it, and you can
hit and just
go up to the kitchen.
Yeah.
But, going back and forth between those two in a game is kind of confusing sometimes.
S&S, R and K.
S&S, R and K, and that really helped my mom learn to do that. I just had her say it out loud and then in her own head for like 10, 20 points.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, she was finally able to get it. But before that, it was like confusing at the start of every point. Like, wait, do I go up? And
do I have to let it bounce? Do I not?
Right.
Can I touch into the kitchen? Can I not? Okay.
Serve and stay.
All right, returning kitchen.
But ultimately, you're wanting to get up to the kitchen. It's just legally you have to stay back for it to bounce on that serve. So that's what's confusing. Serve and stay. Return
legally.
Yeah.
So, one game
15
to 15,
this is what you're doing.
Or death, right? Depending upon which happens first.
Right.
Okay.
You are going to play a round robin, so you're playing 4 different teams.
Uh-huh.
And I think you're going to have a blast. Like, Farrah is amazing. This division is so... I can't wait to see this division play. Like, this is making my year, because I've taught, including yourself, I will have taught everyone but my older brother. So, what is that? 5 times 2. So, I've taught 9 of the 10 people.
Okay, yeah. 9.
In this bracket. I've at least taught them something about pickleball.
Cool.
And I think that's super exciting to see.
Well,
how
I can't imagine
works out.
I can't imagine walking in tomorrow without having this basic form of knowledge, right?
Good.
So this is super helpful, by the way. Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah. I'm